El mundo entero es una atroz colección de testimonios acreditativos de que vivió. Y de que ya la he perdido. Esta es nuestra historia, de Tessa y mía. Estamos enganchados el uno al otro con tanto placer como dolor.
Me has hecho daño y no puedo perdonarte.
Tessa, quiero otra oportunidad.
I want to start asking Hiro and Josephine, and I want to know how have your lives changed after the first movie? Because I imagine that now you have so much love from the fans.
I think that I think the past year has just been very different for everyone. So I think it's sort of difficult to measure how our lives have changed because of this. If we're just going, with the pandemic in the past 6 months, but before that, I think it's just a whole different experience going on a press tour and meeting people and having people know your name that you've never met before. And I think it's changed for the better, but it's just, we're in a very different position to the position we were in before these films came out.
Hiro?
Yeah, I would say the same. It's a good point Joe made about judging the change given the circumstance we're in with COVID and everything. But if I just try and kind of isolate the thought of how after's changed my life, I think initially it was like a big dramatic change, and I think also like coming back home and being with the same people in the same place, I've realized like I do have a bit of control over how things change, and they changed massively for the better when it comes to like my work, and I'm so grateful for all of that. But I think I'm lucky enough to be able to keep a lot of the same aspects of my life that I loved and didn't want to change the same. So I've been lucky. I've been able to balance it quite well, I think.
Dylan, how was the experience of joining this sequel of After, and what kind of things do you highlight of your teammates?
I mean, the experience was great. Super professional, super fun to shoot. I mean, I usually kind of weigh it on a couple different things, which is, how well it's run in terms of its actual production, which it was run really well, and how fun the cast and crew are to work with, which was also perfect. So for me, it was a great experience. And the second part of the question was, what's my highlight of filming? Was that what you asked?
What kind of things do you highlight of your teammates like Josephine and Hiro?
I really think that they're both great people here. I'm obliged to say it in front of them, obviously. I mean, you kind of put me on the spot. It's not like I'm going to, talk ill about them in front. I mean, Hiro's got some really well-leveled pictures in the background, and Joe's couch is a beautiful, solid color of gray. So I think, obviously, indicative of great taste.
In the trailer, we have seen that this sequel is going to be more intense, with more romance, lust, and especially more sex. How was shooting all these scenes?
It's super, super technical, and it's very unsexy, and it's every little thing, and the angles, and I think when you're shooting a movie, you have to do things that look. If you were to see them in real life, it's like, that's so weird, but it's just because it looks a certain way on camera. And I think it was probably easier for us because we've already done this before, and so it was sort of just, you have a relationship and you're comfortable, and
with all these sex scenes, do you think that this movie could be compared to others like 50 Shades of Grey?
I struggle with that question personally because I haven't seen 50 Shades of Grey. But I think people know what to expect from it. Like it's a romance that covers all of the kind of great themes that all romances do, and sex is one of them. And hopefully we got those scenes right, and they're entertaining too. But I couldn't personally compare to 50 Shades because unfortunately I haven't seen it.
Hiro and Dylan, you are rivals in the movie, and I want to ask you, when you were shooting, were you always good friends, or did you have some moments of enmity?
So every morning at 6 a.m, we're depending on call time, but we'd find a time we'd both just wrap like ties around our knuckles and just fight it out for like a good hour. and we just fight
Yeah.
every day, and then makeup would cover up the bruises and stuff, and just to like really maintain that
Get it
hatred
out.
for each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
The tough thing is, though, all of these teeth are fake. Hero
Yeah.
punches really hard. He's got a strong left
No.
hook. Me,
Yeah.
surprised.
Jokes aside, me and Dylan are actually really good friends. Unfortunately, sorry to disappoint people who expected us to be like our characters, but no, we get on really well, which makes it fun to hate each other on screen, I guess.
We also knew each other from before we started filming too, or we had met kind of previously, and we were in Florence, and we were hanging out for a little bit. So that kind of like definitely made it easier too to come on the set.
Yeah, 100% for me as well.
Josephine, in real life, would you prefer a guy like Hardin or a guy like Trevor?
You know, I said in another interview that I don't believe in moral binaries, and I would want a guy who was a mix of the unresolved emotional trauma of a Hardin and the stability of a Trevor. And then the West, which is my local newspaper, picked that up, and it made me sound like a maniac. So I think I'm gonna I don't. Can I not answer that quick? Can I go with single and happy and self-worth and self-love and that answer?
Nice. Lonely.
Yeah.
It's a good
that's
answer.
it.
After a previous experience in the first movie, has it been easier to build the chemistry and passion between Hardy and Tessa in this second film?
I'd say it's like the same. I think like you're acting, and if we couldn't do that, if we had to take a year to get to know each other to act that way, we wouldn't be very good at what we do. So I think hopefully it was exactly the same. I mean, like we said earlier, with me and Dylan knowing each other and me and Joe having known each other for a year, there's obviously a sense of like there's no more ice to break, and you have the familiarity with each other offset to be able to really, you know, for it to be natural and not awkward or anything. But I think we're lucky that it never was in the first place. So we're lucky we have a very professional cast, and we're all great at what they do. So I don't think we needed that time to get to know each other to improve what we did on screen. Having said that, it is nice to know your cast members well.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, I think to a certain degree, chemistry, it's to do with, it's not something you can sort of force. You just do your job. You show up there and you play your character, and you're working with someone who's doing their, and it's a result of the casting and the writing and everything else around you that creates that. It's not, yeah.
And my last question, what do you think the fans are going to enjoy more of your characters in this movie?
I think they're going to enjoy seeing Tessa come out of her shell a little bit more. I sort of hate that because it implies she was a turtle in the first movie, but she wasn't. She most definitely was not a turtle. She was a human being. But I think that they're going to enjoy seeing a different side to Tessa and an older version of her, and someone with a little more independence and confidence and an ability to be assertive and to, you know, do her thing.